Hello students, this video is for class 5, subject English 1, block 1, volume 1. So students, I want all of you to have a look on this map. Have you heard of a country called Lebanon? In which continent is Lebanon located? And why is it in the news so often? Lebanon is a mountainous country in Asia. Look at this. Look at the map. Lebanon lies at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea, north of Israel and west of Syria. For many years, the different religious groups have been fighting in the country. Many innocent people have been killed and their houses have been destroyed. This is the picture of the olive tree. Can you predict what the story will be about? We are going to read a story that is set in a hillside village in Lebanon called The Olive Tree, written by Elsa Marston. I hope everyone is ready with your textbook, and as we go on reading the story together, I want all of you to underline all the new words you come across as you read. So the picture you see in the corner is Samir and his mother. For many years, the stone house next to Samir's home had stood empty, and when Samir asked his mother about the house, she would sigh. The mother replied to Samir saying, "Before the war, nobody cared who was of one religion and who was of another. But when the fighting started, things changed. Our neighbors felt uneasy because they were different from most of the village, and so they left. But now Samir's mother is happy because the long war was over and at last the family who owned the house was coming back. One day, under the old olive tree, Samir leaned against the stone wall, stood between the two houses, and watched every move in the yard next door. The neighbors were carrying in mattresses, chairs, saucepans, everything needed to bring a house back to life. And Samir thought the neighbors would also have a boy, and he thought they would have fun together, roaming the mountainside, playing football on the street, and climbing on the olive tree. Samir glanced up the gnarled old branches. Gnarled means something that is twisted and rough. So he glanced up the gnarled old branches. That tree, his mother always said, gave the best olive in Lebanon. And every year, Samir's mother put up many jars with lemons and hot pepper, and his family had enjoyed those olives for as long as Samir could remember. But now, Samir wondered whether that might change too. The neighbors soon settled back into their house, and the neighbors were always polite. But unfortunately, they did not have a boy. Instead, they had a girl named Nada, and she was of the same age as Samir. Sometimes, standing by the wall in the shade of the olive tree, Samir watched Nada playing her mother, helping her mother, or playing by herself. As the heat of summer passed, the green olives started to ripen. They fell to the ground, and as always, Samir gathered them in a basket. One morning, when Samir was picking up the olives, he noticed Nada at the wall. For a while, Nada watched Samir in silence, and at last she spoke, saying, "Those are our olives, ours." And you know what Samir replied? Straightening up to face her, Samir said, "They are on our land." And Nada replied back to Samir again, saying, "Yes, but the tree is on our land. It grows in our soil, and its roots drink the water in that soil. It has belonged to my family for 100 years." And Samir replied back to Nada, saying, "Listen, all the time you people were away, we took care of this tree. We have a right to the olives." And Nada replied back again to Samir, saying, "But now we are back, and now we'll take care of it. We shall have the olives." Samir angrily looked at her. Then he leaned over the wall, dumped his basket of olives into her yard, turned his back and walked away, let Nada have them. And then, one night, a fierce autumn storm rolled over the mountains with thunder, lightning flashed, and one terrible bolt seemed to shake the whole world. Samir rushed outside to see what had happened. He saw the olive tree was gone. Nada and her family came and stood on this side, while Samir's family stood on theirs. Everyone stared at what was left of the tree. Then one by one they all went inside their own houses. But Samir remained, his eyes stinking with tears. He thought, no more cool whispering leaves, no more twisted branches to climb on, and no more of the best olives in Lebanon. Now Samir is very sad and crying. Then Samir noticed Nada standing in the doorway at her kitchen. Slowly Nada came over to the broken wall. Look at the picture. Nada is Nada she slowly came into the over to the broken wall, and she was trying to speak to Samir. But Samir turned to leave, was trying to ignore Nada, but as Nada started to speak, he paused. Nada said quietly, "They always told me about this tree. I wonder if I would ever see it. It seemed like my home, my parents' and grandparents' home that they nearly lost, and now it's gone." Now, not only Samir but Nada is also very sad. Samir replied to Nada, saying, "At least you'll have lots of firewood this winter. It's all yours." He picked up a couple of large chunks. Chunks mean the part of something that has been separated. So he picked up a couple of large chunks, stepped over the broken wall, and laid them next to Nada's house. As he continued carrying wood to her yard, gradually his heart ached a little less, because for at least he was tending carefully to what was left of his old friend the olive tree. Then, coming back from his third trip, Samir stopped short in surprise. What did he see? He saw that Nada had gone over to his yard. Nada had gone over to Samir's yard, okay? And there she too was picking up pieces of wood and piling them. So the two continued to work together. The two worked on, each in other's yard, as the sun rose higher, but they did not talk with each other, and they cleared up all the olive wood, each stacking it neatly against the other's house, and and when Samir went back to his house, he found on the chair by his door a little pile of perfect olives, carefully salvaged from among the splinters and withering leaves. So this is the end of the story. So I hope you have understood the story, isn't it? So what was the conflict of the story? The conflict was regarding who the owner of the olives is, isn't it? Samir thought that the olives were his because they fell on his land, and at the same time Nada thought that the olives belonged to her because the olive tree grew on her land. And how did we find out about this? What opinion the two characters had is that they both had different opinion, isn't it? Samir's opinion was that he thinks that the olives are his because they have fallen on his land, and Nada's opinion was that she thinks that the olives are hers because the tree grows on her land, right? So, I hope you have understood the story. We will continue the next blog in the next video. Thank you.